She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA.
Rebecca Lobo's remarks on Caitlin Clark and the referees are so shocking that the WNBA executives can no longer ignore them. Because even though we just saw the most spectacular illustration of the Caitlin Clark effect after the WNBA's poor officiating in the Fever Sun game, the same officiating has the power to damage the league's reputation. Rebecca, a WNBA icon, has sounded the alarm. This argument is not only compelling, but she also revealed what several WNBA players are reportedly saying behind closed doors about the officiating situation. If we have learned anything, it is that the WNBA still has major questions to answer about how it handles its biggest star, Caitlin Clark. The league may not appreciate these criticisms, but they have become part of the ongoing conversation. Let us take a closer look at Rebecca's comments and the developing Fever story, which brings both encouraging signs and serious concerns about the WNBA's officiating. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers have not subscribed yet. It is free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, have you subscribed already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video.
The second-year player clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laugh.
Caitlin Clark's amazing comeback was just a few games ago. She scored 25 points in the first half, including 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. It was an exciting period that also served to remind fans what they were missing. It reminded everyone in the league of the true leader.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark. 2 players with incredible Clark, another long 3.
The statement of statements was the game that made everything clear. The WNBA has more assets than just Caitlin Clark. It is up to her. When she missed those 5 games, it was not simply an absence. It was an exposure. There were fewer spectators. The level of social engagement fell. The level of interest across the country declined. Every WNBA story now seemed like background noise without Caitlin Clark.
But here we go with Caitlin Clark singularly being missing for the time she was gone, and ratings tanking 50% in some cases. And then also she comes back and reminds everyone how spectacular she is. And everybody's talking about the WNBA. So if you needed to sort of have it affirmed to you that it is just her, that the singularity of her is what we are talking about and her star power, you got it with this absence and then the way she came back.
Caitlin Clark's comeback helped the WNBA as a whole after weeks of declining ratings and mounting criticism. With a high audience of 2.8 million, their game against the Liberty was one of the most viewed WNBA broadcasts ever. In contrast, 2.5 million people watched the NHL Stanley Cup Finals on average. While it is true that basketball and hockey are not precisely similar, Caitlin Clark's recent victory over the final round of a century-old men's sports league is abnormal. Although WNBA leadership seems to have completely missed this, a topic we will address in a moment, Olympic gold medalist, Basketball Hall of Famer, and perhaps ESPN's most calm voice in the room, Rebecca Lobo, has not disregarded the importance of this. Before I get to her comments on the referees, have a look at her description of how seismic Clark's comeback was.
Tell me, what does Clark's return mean for the WNBA?
I mean, it means a lot more people are paying attention once again. We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was just ridiculous.
Pay attention to what Rebecca Lobo said. People are observing once again. It is a little sentence, yet it says a lot because if they start watching again, it means they had stopped. And we all know exactly when that happened. When Caitlin Clark was not on the court, Lobo did not stop there. She went on to explain why fans came back as soon as Clark returned.
there at the end of the first quarter when she had that 38-second stretch where she drained deep three after deep three after deep three. I was just sitting there thinking, I've been around this league since 1997. I have never seen that in a WNBA game. Have we seen players go on runs? Of course we have, but not like that. Not where a couple of the three-pointers are from 30-plus feet. It was an exhibition by her.
That is the issue. These were not your usual lengthy twos or deep threes. These were logo bombs from a different zip code. Few, if any, athletes are able to accomplish it often and with such ease, which is why fans watch. Even Natasha Cloud, who has not shown any consideration for Caitlyn's supporters, recognizes the truth. You must defend her as soon as she crosses the middle. This is not normal. Just ask Rebecca.
This angle is wild, folks. There's the eye gouge. Watch Mabry. Boom! I mean, come on.
Everything that has been happening, not just since Caitlyn's comeback, but actually throughout last season, and this one as well, becomes quite concerning because we are no longer simply talking about missed calls or physical defense. We are talking about a trend that has become so obvious that even seasoned WNBA insiders like Rebecca Lobo are speaking up, and the game against the Suns should have made everyone in the league shiver. For some reason, neither J.C. Sheldon nor Marina Mabry were sent off after effectively taking Caitlin Clark to the court with a body check and a claw to the face. I am not lying when I say that Caitlin and J.C. were chirping a bit earlier. They were. But making fun of someone does not give you the right to assault them. You cannot expect a league to become as successful as the WWE if you allow its biggest stars to be knocked to the floor. Even the commentators were shocked. You could hear it in their voices. They were expecting ejections. The league as a whole reacted the same way. What happened stunned fans, coaches, analysts, and even players.
Hey, we would have been crashing that team.
Courtney, if somebody ever tackles you like that,
Nobody would ever tackle me like that. They would play with Bridget like that, and then we would have to like take it up there.
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying.
Nobody would ever play with me like
if that ever happened, you better crash out behind me, because I'm crashing out behind you.
See,
We can share the same jail cell.
Caitlyn's face claw and push, of course, went viral and became the talk of the town, but was not an isolated incident of chaos. Tension had been growing throughout the whole game, but the officials were ignoring it.
J.C. Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of its play.
And after boiling over, the chippiness escalated rapidly. Stephanie White was, of course, incensed after the game. It was clear from her body language even before she spoke. She sat down, took a deep breath, and let it all out.
The game has changed so much. Players are faster, they're better, they're bigger, they're stronger. They're as good as they've ever been. They're as athletic as they've ever been. The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better, except the officials.
That is the worst way to make fun of the refs without identifying them. While the rest of us are getting better, you are not. It is severe and goes right to the core of what many players, coaches, and fans have been going through. The issue is that this did not start with the Sun game. It has been expanding all season long. The harsh and unprotective handling of athletes like Caitlin Clark, the uneven officiating, and the missed calls.
What was that play? Oh my god, this is rigged. This is rigged. She got yanked, fell on her hip. That's a hack! That's a hack! That's a hack! Oh my god, they hacked the one upon her and they hacked Caitlin Clark. They are both hacks. They are both hacks. They hacked Fever twice, and then there was a phantom foul called on Sabrina Ionescu.
From the start of the season, the Fever's lack of calls was apparent. But during their 90-88 loss against the Liberty, it reached a breaking point. A game that turned into a hot potato for players and fans alike. The officiating that night seemed prejudiced. New York was receiving ticky-tack fouls, while Indiana was unable to buy a whistle. The difference at the free throw line was evident as the Liberty accumulated tries, while the Fever barely made it to the stripe. But what really incensed folks were the questionable calls, or lack thereof, in the final moments. The worst occurred at the very end. Caitlin Clark was not even able to take a shot on the last possession after Natasha Cloud flagrantly fouled her. As replay after replay exposed it, social media went crazy. Analysts disapproved of it. Supporters were furious. So was Stephanie White. Ironically, instead of screaming at the refs after the Sun game, she received a penalty for this. It seemed as if the league was quietly admitting its errors, as if they knew it was unreasonable. In all honesty, they should admit it. Because before we even talk about what Rebecca Lobo said, which is insightful and really dangerous for the league, we need to talk about the rising discontent inside the WNBA.
I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways.
Instead, rather than disregarding players' complaint about hard play, the officials openly laugh at them. Let's go back to Rebecca Lobo and how Caitlin Clark is affected by all of this. Players are laughing and saying things like, "I am going to be harmed if this continues." The conclusion is as follows. If Caitlin loses, the game is over. Everyone knows it. The league, the players, the networks, and the fans, whether they admit it or not. Rebecca, to her credit, did not sugarcoat anything either. She made the necessary statement in the most delicate way possible. But if you listen carefully to what she says, it is far more concerning than you may think.
The second time where I'm attacking, it's very physical. I'm saying something to the ref, watch my landing space, watch physicality. I get laughed at, and it ends in my ankle getting turned. The same thing happened in Dallas, a flagrant that wasn't called. Same thing happened here. So my ankle is hanging in there, but it's starting to get very frustrating. I'm averaging less than 2 free throws a game, and I drive, I'm physical. I'm not someone who's avoiding contact. So I just hope that the safety of players starts to become a priority versus the ego of refs.
Have you grasped what she just said? She did not only say that some coaches are concerned. All of them, she said. Every coach she has talked to says that the officiating is a big problem. Things become considerably worse at this point because if every coach agrees that the officials have lost control, then they have no option but to make changes. They will be subject to a new set of regulations. It becomes dangerous when the quiet one says, "We will protect our players if the refs won't."
It is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs to get better. Specifically, the consistency, not only from one game to the next, but the consistency with